We are live. Welcome, everyone. Thank you all for coming out to the Doc Bookshop. My name is Donna Craddock. I am one of the co-owners of the Doc Bookshop. We're family owned and family operated, been around for 17 years. So glad you're here. And we have a very interesting conversation today. We're dealing with business. And we got Brian Joubert.
Yes, ma'am.
Brian Joubert with us today. And he's going to be talking about still running with blinders. And I really believe in my heart the Lord sent him to us. I want to know the top 17 mistakes of small businesses. And this is what this book is about. This is what we're going to discuss. So please, take time to go to your social media. Tell people to join us. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. And I'm going to make sure those channels are working because I have done a whole live without sound. So I learned to take a minute and make sure my channels are working. Yeah. So while I'm doing that, please, I encourage you to do the same. Just go to your channels and share. And I think we're good here. Yep. Facebook is good. And then we're going to go check our YouTube. Make sure our YouTube is working. And please follow us on YouTube and Facebook and IG.
And IG. Don't forget IG.
Don't forget IG. Yeah. I'm not sure this one. Oh, yeah. All right. We're hot on YouTube as well. Okay. Wonderful. Okay. Well, again, I'm just going to delve right into it.
Please
because
do.
we got a lot to cover. Okay, so Brian,
yes,
tell us a little bit about yourself. First of all, how did you end up coming to Dallas-Fort Worth? Because you're from Atlanta, right?
I live in Atlanta now. Yeah, I'm originally from New Orleans, but I live in Atlanta now.
Oh, okay. So why are you in the DFW? What's going on?
Well, some people in the audience say I live in the sky.
Okay.
Yeah, I live in the skies, but no, actually, I was coming down to Dallas because I had my cousin's graduating Saturday.
Oh, graduations.
So,
yes,
so
this
my
is
dad,
definitely a graduation
My dad
season.
was coming in, and I was just going to spend a little time with my dad, but I was like, all right, this would be a perfect opportunity to take advantage of being here and connecting with some Black-owned businesses, specifically Black-owned bookstores. So after doing some research, I found out a little bit about the shop, and I'm like, this is one of the largest in the state of Texas as far as just merchandise and books and everything. I was like, I got to be there.
Okay.
So that's how I end up in Fort Worth.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you for looking us up. I appreciate it. Because, again, I believe that you are here on divine assignment, okay? Because,
yes.
We've been in business for 17 years. And his book is dealing with the top 17 mistakes. This is number 17 just been dealing with me. So I want to know, let's just answer the question right. Instead of saying 20 mistakes, you said 17. And I'm just trying to figure out why you just didn't find 3 more and then make it that cute number 20. Why did we just end up with 17? And it's so interesting that it's our 17th year. We celebrated 17 years in May. And so it's, thank you. I appreciate that. And it's the end of May, and you're here, and we're dealing with 17 mistakes. It just all, So I'm curious why you just didn't go to 20.
Intervention.
I know. I'm like, what?
But now, and you know what? That's a common question, and that was by design. That was by design. And one of the things, and it's funny when I say by design because George is in the audience, and we talk a lot, and we talk about how everything is, by design. I don't care what you do. It should be structured mentally and it's by design. Okay. And so 17 was, just like you said, it was interesting. It caught your attention. The thing about it is whenever you find anything that's odd, it makes you stop. 20 would have been too comfortable,
Okay.
So 17 is okay. What made you say 17? Like that's the thing. And that's what I like to do. Like have round off numbers and things, because what it does, it makes people stop. So even,
like it did me.
Yeah, it makes you stop and ask questions. And that's going to be like, okay, is that a significance behind it? And so even though it's when we talking about making mistakes as a small business, we can probably name 1,700.
Right.
You know, so that really was
Right.
a challenge to narrow it down to 17. But as if you read the book, you'll see I have an honorable mention section that may have another 20.
Okay.
But it's not the top. It's not the top 17.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just some certain things because, you know, I was in business. I've been in business for a long time. And it's crazy because now that you mention it, I think I was in business 17 years at the time I wrote the book.
Really?
Yeah, and so that's just ironic that you mentioned it now and I think back on it. But I just took the ones that I've seen over time, but being an entrepreneur for over 30 years, you know, just being in the tax industry for over 28 years, you know, I've seen a lot. And I've seen a lot of businesses make a lot of mistakes. So I think it was fitting that we point out the mistakes, especially the top ones, because you have to address what's important first.
Okay. Well, let's delve into it then. Let's see. I'm curious to know. First, I want to give a shout out though to our in-studio audience. Thank y'all so much. Give yourselves a hand. And then shout out to our social audience, our virtual. We got Facebook, YouTube, and I think you on IG. So shout out to all of you. And okay, so we're just gonna kind of walk through this because I need to walk through each chapter. So the 17 mistakes. All right, let's start with the most common business deductions. Is that a mistake or something?
No, the most common business deductions is just.
Oh, so you're just introducing.
Yeah, that's just the chapter, just telling you about, you know,
taxes
the things that individuals in business can write off, deductions that they can be aware of. So I wanted to point that out because you have so many people in business that have no idea of what they're supposed to be doing, what they're supposed to keep up, what they're supposed to write off. And so I wanted to point that out, you know, for individuals to make it a little bit easier so you don't have to guesswork about what I should be keeping up with as a business owner. You
Okay.
know, and so that's very important.
And as a tax person, you would put that
Yes,
in there. The
exactly.
most common business deductions. Okay.
Yes.
And Rich Boy. Okay, let's talk about Rich Boy. Is that your nickname, Rich Boy?
Yes, but you know what? It's more of my passion. That's everybody. It's more of my passion because the thing about it is when people hear Rich Boy, everybody believes that it's my lifestyle. So when people see my lifestyle, they think it's Rich Boy is about the lifestyle, but truly it's about my passion. And Rich Boy, R-I-C-H.
Yeah, hold on. Go away, Fly. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So Rich Boy is R-I-C-H-B-O-I.
Okay,
and so
I see it. Mm-hmm.
That's for really interested in caring how businesses operate internally.
Oh, okay.
So that's the passion behind it.
Okay.
That's the passion behind it. And I say that because when we talk about really interested in business, that's what I love. I love entrepreneurship. I love helping. And what we have to understand that in Rich Boy, that internal part, is your infrastructure in business. So it's almost like your foundation.
I know.
And we understand foundation. Yeah, we understand foundation when we're in a relationship. We say the foundation of the relationship has to be strong for the relationship to last. We understand it when building. If we build in a house, they say the foundation has to be solid for the house to last. It's the same in business. You have to have that internal part, which is your foundation. So when we talk about really interested in caring how businesses operate internally, that internal part, your bookkeeping, your taxes, you know, all of those things, your business structure, understanding all that is very important for the longevity of your business. Because one thing I really want people to understand is it's not normal to be surviving. You know, and we didn't got to a point now where we survive in business and we think that's the norm. We want to thrive in business. Right. But we don't have that internal part in place. And so that's why this book is so important to try to help people get those things in place, because the whole goal is sustainability. Mm-hmm. You know, we know a lot of people had a good 5-year run. That's not impressive. Right. You know, that's not impressive. The goal is to do this and create a lifestyle. You know, and so that's what the book gives you.
That's good. And that's important. And, you know, business, even myself, we cringe when you say bookkeeping, taxes, all, you know, all that's, you know, infrastructure, you know, we just want to do our passion. Like, I just want to sell books. I want to create book lists. I want to have author talk. That's all I want to do. But you're right, that infrastructure is so important, and I think that gets us.
Don't interview George.
That gets us. I mean, that infrastructure, you're right.
Yes.
So I'm glad you talk about that in regards to
but to get even deeper than that, the reason why it's so important, because those infrastructures, when you understand how to build a foundation, what it does is it creates a situation now where you build leverage. And leverage is the thing that catapults your business. Because now if I got leverage, I can go to investors, I can go to banks, I can go to all these different institutions now where I can play with other people's money. And see, this is what we don't get in our community. Other people don't play with their other money, with their own money. This is why we hear the millionaires and billionaires talking about they got investors. They went to such and such bank and got $500 million. They don't play with their own money, even though they're millionaires and billionaires. And so, but they've created leverage because now they can do, loans against their assets. And that's why all of this stuff is important, because all this helps create assets, which helps create leverage. Leverage creates success.
Okay. All right. That's good. And then this other one that makes us cringe, but we need it, are the marketing ideas.
Yes.
That marketing, boy, it's ongoing, never stop. You just every day. It's an everyday hustle with the marketing. So talk to us about that.
But
you have suggested marketing ideas.
Yeah, I have suggested marketing ideas. We have a whole section on that. But it's not as hard as people think it is.
What?
You know what I say?
Talk to me.
And again, I might keep pointing my man George out because he gets it. If you look at him, he normally
you might come on up here, George.
When we talk about marketing, but he came from the school of Brian. So, but the thing about it is that marketing, the reason why I say it's not that hard is because what if you was to replace Polo and Gucci with your own brand every day like you do? It's marketing. You're marketing for somebody else every single day when you wear everything but your own. So you understand the marketing concept already. You marketing somebody else's product and brand every day. So you understand marketing. All you have to do is swap that out with your stuff. I don't care what it is. If it's your hat, if it's your shirt, if it's your pants, if it's your sneakers, if it's your shoes, whatever you wear, why not wear your own?
Okay.
Why not wear your own? And so that was the thing, is that thing I never understood when people would say, because if you follow me on social media and you'll see my travels, I'm always intentionally taking pictures somewhere with my logo in the background or something in the background. That's a brand of mine. And people used to always say, why every time you go somewhere, you got something LV on? Because that's who pays me. That's the reason why I'm on this trip, because my company paid for this trip. But my company couldn't pay for this trip if nobody knew I had this company.
Right.
And so it don't take much. You don't have to spend a lot on marketing. When you do social media, that's marketing. How much social media costs? Nothing. And my whole concept behind that is if one person reaches out to me, that's effective marketing. Because if I do none of it, my chances of somebody following me, partnering with me, buying from me is zero. So you have to put yourself out there. But I put a lot of different concepts of marketing out there, just from minor things, social media, cards, networking. Networking in most situations costs nothing. You can go to networking events, and even if it's $25, that's an investment. And so we have to stop looking at marketing as a liability. And that's what as opposed to a business investment. And I think that's the one thing we do in our community wrong. We look at marketing and spending money on promoting our business as a liability. I'm spending money. No, that's a part of business.
That's a part of business, right?
And so we have to do that. And the more I market my business, the better I have a chance of attracting more customers.
But here you say become vain.
Oh.
Yeah, because you have to when you market, huh?
Yeah, and you have
vain
to.
about things.
And when you market yourself in a sense of, I know I'm good. When you start saying my little business, I have a little business, I have a little this, it's like, Nobody who want to do business with somebody who's saying, I'm doing, I got a little business, and, talk as if your business is a conglomerate. And to be honest with you, the type of people you need to get your business to the next level, they don't mind that as long as you can back it up. As long as you can back it up.
He has a lot of marketing suggestions in this book. So.
And pretty much 90% of them are free. The things that you can do is free. Have business cards, pass them out, leave them. I go somewhere and leave my cards. If I'm there for a while, I just leave them, because if one person pick it up, that's effective marketing. If nobody ever picks it up, then I didn't lose nothing but a few pennies per card.
Right. Okay, and that kind of ties in with the social networking sites for small businesses, right? The whole marketing.
Yes, all of that's marketing.
Okay, and then in section 5, we're dealing with business quotes to live by, learn from, and love.
Yes,
and so find some quotes for us, y'all.
But we understand quotes, we understand affirmations. So I think that's what makes this book so unique, in the sense of you really have a business success blueprint, from marketing tips, top business deductions, mistakes not to make, and if you do make them, how to correct them. But then you also have quotes, which is affirmations. Because if we tell ourselves stuff enough and long enough, we'll start believing them.
And this one stood out for me. If you work just for money, you'll never make it. But if you love what you're doing and you always put the customer first, success will be yours. And that's Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's. Okay.
McDonald's, yeah. But and McDonald's, some of y'all may have heard of McDonald's. Like they got a nice size, portfolio.
Right.
But
great marketeers.
But that's the thing, that we understand it, but we don't follow it a lot of times. If you live your passion and you work in a value capacity,
I'm laughing at
money gonna come. Money gonna come. People love value. People love value. So if you putting something worth value, that's the same reason why we buy these so-called luxury brands, because we perceive it as value. Mm-hmm. So we go out and spend our money. Your business is no different. This is why you promote your business with passion. You sell it with value, and you don't have to worry about money. Because one thing we are as people, we're selfish. We want to work with who we consider gonna get us the most money, who gonna give us the best product, who gonna give us the best value. And there's nothing wrong with that. So if I become better than everybody in my industry, it's more than likely I'm gonna get more money than everybody in my industry. I'm gonna get more clients than more people in my industry. So we can't do everything for the money, because money gonna come. Because if you got a crazy, and your product is inferior, believe me, I don't care how much you charge. If it's $4 or $40, you ain't getting no money. So work on your product, work on your value, and the money gonna follow.
Okay. And I was laughing earlier because I seen your quote. And I kind of like your quote. You said, "We will never be free as a people until what educates us becomes more important than what entertains us." Not sure who said it, but I'm taking credit for it.
I said it. She said it. Everybody in the audience basically said it, though. I know these individuals. But the thing about it is that we have to focus on education. If you want to build, and you're somebody, I'm extremely passionate about building the community. Mm-hmm. And so we have to understand, right now, we're fifth on the totem pole right now. And when I say fifth, and I'm talking about probably from an education standpoint and economics.
Okay.
And so if we don't focus on education and we put entertainment aside, we got to put entertainment aside, because our entertainment value is bringing no change. It's not bettering nothing in our community. So when we in front of the TV, for 10 hours a day, 40, 50, 60 hours a week, we're losing out on valuable time. So we have to educate ourselves. And that's through reading. And right now, in this day and time, there's no excuse. You have so many platforms to learn
audio, ebooks,
YouTube University.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't like books.
Still running with blinders.
But it's so many other ways you can.
And so you have books, you have videos, so it's no excuse for us not to know. So until we immerse ourselves in education and start pulling back on the entertainment, we're gonna struggle as a whole. And that's why that's so important, man, because I want to see all of us win. I want to see, not just me. I say this not out of arrogance. I'm a win with or without you. I'd rather win with you, though, because I understand the power of unified economics. And that's why it's hard again for us to struggle, because we don't understand unified economics.
Now, let me ask you, as far as just the Black community, what is your commentary on that? Do you think that we are becoming more unified in our thinking as far as spending our money, or do you think,
no?
You don't think we're doing better?
No. And the reason why I say that is because I have this debate. In our community, we are making more money than we've ever seen. Like we got young people making millions of dollars. We're doing better than we can even imagine, but we have more stuff than we've ever had. So it's crazy how we can say we're making way more money, but we have more mental illness, we have more stress, we have more depression than we ever had. Because now with that new money we're getting, we're going out and buying new toys and stuff, non-appreciating assets. And so what happens is when you buy all of this stuff, even though you have all of this money, you know what you got to do? You got to keep paying for it. That means you got to keep working, and you got to work harder. Mm-hmm. And then in our community, like I was expressing to somebody today, is what's a bad word in our community? Downsize. Downsize. That's a bad word. You better not. If you downsize, you done fell off. Yeah, you doing. So now I don't care. You got a 4-bedroom house. Your kids are all grown and gone. You still paying a mortgage that you can't afford, even though nobody lives there but you. But if you was to downsize that house, everybody would think that you were doing bad. So that's why I say I don't see us collectively. And then that's the thing, is that we're not understanding group economics. We're still wanting 100% of the pie. And what I talk about a lot, and what I try to bring people together on, is if 5 of us got 20% of the pie and we get 5 pies, we still gonna get full. But if we try to buy 1 pie, we can't afford 1 pie. So we get no pie. So it's better to get a piece of a few pies than try to get a whole pie. And we still haven't learned that. And so that's why economically I don't see, no growth in us.
Okay, but there is hope though, right? There's hope, people. Right? I mean, of course just what you're doing, right? As far as educating. Let me just say this, because okay, we've been in business for 17 years. Uh-huh. And it's been slow, but I can say that people are becoming more aware. They're becoming more conscious of their shopping and spending and who they're shopping and spending with. Finally, it took a long time to get there, but I actually hear people come in and say, I looked you up. I want to shop with you because you are a Black-owned business and I want to support a Black-owned business. That took a while to get there. So that's what I'm saying. I know we got a long way to go, but we are, in a sense, I think, waking up slowly. I mean,
I think we are slowly. And there is hope. I'm not saying it's no hope.
When we first opened
up,
slow
it was
hope,
rough. Though. Yeah, it's slow hope,
rough.
Because we are now starting to Google, Black-owned this. And if you follow me, you know that I'm an advocate. Every city I go to, I'm finding the Black-owned restaurants. I'm finding the Black-owned everything. Yeah. But what happens is it has to be a lot of us. And it has to be intentional.
It's coming. That's what I'm saying. It's slow, but I have seen an increase. And I've been, I'm probably more patient than Brian, y'all. I think I'm more patient. But we don't have time to be too patient though. We got to get it together.
You saying that as if I'm old. Like you saying that like you don't have time. Like you got 3 good years in front of you.
Not about us as a people. We really do need to hurry and get it together. But I'm just saying, I do see, as far as a community, us being a little bit more aware of our shopping and economic significance, and
I always say I see it, but I don't know if I'll see the massive change in my lifetime. And so hopefully, because my goal now is a lot more focused on young people. So hopefully we can get them to gravitate to understand. But it's easier to train than untrained.
Right.
And so now, trying to get to the young people to express this, all right, this is what we got to do. We got to have group economics. Mm-hmm. We got to understand, and we got to shop Black intentionally. And everybody talk about the challenges we have in the Black community. And there's going to be some challenges because it's a lot of Black-owned businesses that can't run businesses properly. But that's why I tell you to hold those businesses accountable. Hold them accountable. If you have a problem with something, let the manager owner know this is why I have a problem. Let them correct it. Because a lot of times they don't even realize that they're doing something wrong. Or they don't even realize, like in my case, I have a staff, I have a team. And I'm gone. My team, I rely on my team to do a lot. If something happens with someone in my office, I may not know if nobody ever report that to me. But that's not indicative how I run a business. Because pretty much 99% of the people know that I run a very customer service friendly, very professional friendly, organization. But it may be that one situation that say, you know what, I'm not going to Black businesses no more. They were rude that day. But if you never tell me, I can never address it. And that's why I say hold these companies accountable and let them try to fix it before we go out and we badmouth. And so I can see it coming, and we have a lot of work to do, but we have to be intentional.
Yeah.
If we're not intentional about it, it's not going to happen in our lifetime.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So 7 pitfalls. And, y'all, by the way, this is Letitia. I'm going to take a break. This is Letitia, and she's creating a mural for us. So wait, Letitia. We're going to have an unveiling of our mural. It's going to be beautiful. So I'll keep you posted on that one. But we're actually, let me just kind of reset for those who are just joining us. Welcome. Again, we are in conversation with Brian Joubert. He's here. He's from New Orleans. He lives in Atlanta, but he's here today in Fort Worth at the Doc Bookshop talking about his book, Still Running with Blinders, the top 17 mistakes the top 17 mistakes of small businesses. And we just been chopping it up, and I'm learning so much. I am. We've been having a great conversation. And so I'm going to continue on. We are on section 6, and we're talking about the 7 pitfalls of business failure. I need to read this one. Yeah. So you want to just talk a little bit about the 7 pitfalls? Because you talk about poor management, insufficient capital, all the stuff that small businesses struggle with.
Yes. Location,
overexpansion. Okay.
Yeah, but one of the things, Sue, I would say, and the reason why I have number 1 in there for the 7 pitfalls of failure for businesses is starting your business for the wrong reason. Like, you got a lot of people out here and I would speak on my industry, in the tax industry. We already know, I have some of my tax professional friends in here, and we already know, like, it's people get in the business and say, oh, y'all make a lot of money. Y'all work 4 months a year, though. I'm gonna start doing some taxes, but they don't see the grind behind the shine.
Oh, yeah.
And so they getting into the business and wonder why the business is not prospering. Because we took classes. We spent a lot of money on classes and seminars and training. So when you start your business just because you see somebody else making money in the business, you're going to probably fail 99% of the time.
Right.
99% of the time.
You don't know it. Yeah.
Because if it ain't really in your heart and soul, then I came from a situation where I love numbers and I love helping people. So for that reason, it's going to allow me to love the tax business, especially when I started, because you were doing stuff manually. I aged myself a little bit. But you start, so I love numbers. So again, if you're a person that just see the success that I have, but you don't love numbers, or you don't really love, I hear people say, I don't like people. I want to do taxes, but I don't really like people. Like you better start liking people. You better have more.
Mess with their money.
You better have more than enough patience, because you're gonna need it in this industry. You know, and so that's why I say you got so many people that see these so-called influencers and want to get into certain industries and do things just because they say these influencers making money or having success, and they get into it and wonder why they're failing, because you're in it for the wrong reasons.
Right. That actually happened to me. I did. I had this gentleman come in and say he would open up a bookstore, and I asked him, "What book are you reading, or what was your latest book read?" And he said, "Oh, I don't like to read." And I just stood there looking. I said, "Can you repeat that? As you saying you want to open up a bookstore?
Yeah.
How you not like to read?" But okay. So yeah, we cut that conversation short. I'm like, that's one thing you have to do is read. So section 7, the top 5 must-haves to help prevent business failure. And of course, the number 1 is cash.
Yeah, you need some money. When I say like money is not, you know, you got to have creativity sometime too, but you do need some cash, because when we talking about buying the proper supplies and equipment, going to seminars and things like that, you need money to do those things to catapult your business to the next level. So, and it's not always a lot of money, because creativity can be a good replacement for lack of money. But most people are not creative. So a lot of times you're going to need some money to get into business, because what I see people get in and they don't have enough money even to get a sign out front. And I'm like, okay, you got in with just enough to start the business. And a lot of times that's going to be detrimental to your business, because I know people that try to get in and don't have money to get certain certificates and licenses. So they try to operate under the table until they make enough money to buy that. And those things can cost you, your business success. So that's why I say you got to get in a position and understand that you do need some money. When I say cash, it's not relatively just cash money, but even understanding business credit cards, things like this, things that you can use that you can turn into cash if need be.
Right. Okay. An accounting system and,
yes.
Competitive advantage.
But that's it, and what happens is you'll get people to skip over that, right? You'll get people to skip over that accounting system.
Yeah, we're gonna pass that up.
Because that's one of the
But that's so important though. Yeah,
but you would have 85% of businesses don't have one. And you just say that's important, because again, if I'm getting in business with just enough, then I'm probably gonna put accounting on the back burner. I don't need that right now.
Yeah, I'll do my Excel sheet.
Yeah, my cousin told me just do Excel. But again, I mentioned this in the book as well. You can't manage what you can't see. So how can I manage my money? How do I know where my money's going if I can't see it? So if I ain't keeping up with nothing, I don't know how much I'm spending. I don't know how much I'm bringing in. So I don't know when to change. Like, you might have February and March is your high season, but you ain't got enough supplies because you don't even understand the trail of how your accounting system works. Your low seasons, you may not need as much inventory. You may need to do more marketing. But if I don't have no accounting and no accountability, how will I ever know that?
Right.
So now I'm basically getting more supplies when I need less. I got less supplies when I need more. So now people coming to me, they buying, I'm always out because I don't have a track record. And that's why accounting system is so important, because it creates a track record. So now I already know what I did. If I know February, March, April is my high season, I know I'm going to be equipped for that, because based on last year and the year before, I was super busy.
Right.
December, and the other months I might be slow. So now I need to pull back on maybe the inventory, staffing, and then maybe do more marketing to build that up. But I'll never know that if I have no type of accounting system or accountability.
That's real talk. Let's talk about a plan. Your business plan, right? Is that what you mean by the plan?
Yeah, so you need to have a plan, business plan, marketing plan, a plan anyway. But you need to have a plan. And the reason why I say that, because that includes all of that, a marketing plan, business plan. You need to have, because if you, and like I say, my people in here knows, when you talk to some people and they say, well, I want to start a business, you're like, well, what you going to do? So how you going to, well, I don't know yet. Well, you know, what's your time frame for, well, yeah, I'm not sure yet. You know, and I'm like, that's a failure. That's a plan for failure. You know, right. And so you got to go into it with some plan and say, all right, well, you know what? In these first 3 months, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to have. These next 3 months, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to have. And you got to have some type of plan. And I say, all right, well, where are you going to get your funding from? All that's a plan. Like, this is where I'm going to get my money. This is how I'm going to get my money. That's a plan. You know, basically, who's going to be your clients? You know, you got to have a plan on how you're going to attract people. So all that's part of your marketing plan, and part of that is your business plan. So if you have no plan in place, it's pretty much just a matter of time.
That's right. Be sure to purchase Rich Boy's business plan at richboyinvestments.com.
And just so happen, I have a business plan as well. Just to show if you don't know where to start.
Section 8, we're dealing with 10 common traits of successful entrepreneurs. Oh, I love this section. I'm gonna read this.
And so we talked about that a little earlier, the 10 common traits.
Passion.
You know, but the thing we always talk about too, though, is success leaves trails. Success leaves trails. And we so busy talking about we want to create our own. You can basically modify a little bit, but it's a million people that were successful before me.
Right.
And they pretty much did 90% of the same things to get to that point. Why am I going all over here? When it's proven that certain things will work, no matter what industry. And I always say business is business is business. So one is when we talk about passion, you know, that's a trait of a successful person. Most of the time they love what they do. You know, most of the time when you see a person that's really super not passionate about their business, it's somebody that already created their passionate business and now they're working with another business they may have invested in. And they're part of that business and they're not as passionate about it, but they get a return on the investment. But that's usually not their main business. Okay. And then when we talk about sacrifice, that's pretty much like people don't want to sacrifice. That's a trait of a successful entrepreneur. Like they will sacrifice. You're going to have to give up some things. I knew I was probably ready for greatness when I started turning down Saturday night dates to read. When I turned down Saturday night dates, and I'm in here reading on a Saturday night, like, boy, you might be on to something. Like so, but that was a sacrifice because again, like I'm trying to achieve something now. So no, the street's gonna be there. Mm-hmm. You know, we went out every other weekend. I could get this one up. I can get the next 2 up. But that's the type of sacrifices you have to make. You're gonna have to give up some things to be successful. You know, you can't, people say, well, you know, and I'm a big fan of having your cake and eat it too, but not in the beginning because I got to sacrifice until I'm able to get the cake.
Okay. I think we should read through these. And the next one is creativity. That's very important.
Yes, a common trait of entrepreneurs is creativity. Entrepreneurs are very creative. Like you're not going to have every single thing in front of you. You're not going to have every single situation fall into place. One thing that we know about business, the plan ain't gonna always go like that. So you got to be creative enough to adjust.
Yes. And you have to have a great work ethic. You know, that's the other one. And vision, vast knowledge about the industry that you're in.
Well, let's stop right there.
The vast knowledge?
Yeah. That's when we talked about value before. This is probably one of the greatest selling tools of your business that you can have. When we talk about vast knowledge about your industry, I guarantee you can almost identify that anybody that's super successful, they know their business and their industry inside and out. Because that's the thing that institutes value. When I know my business inside and out, I know what trends are coming. I know basically what's happening in my business. I have value now. Mm-hmm. And when you have value, you can do so much, because you know what? I could dictate my pricing now. I can even pick my clients. I could no, I don't want you as a client. And so, because again, that's what that does for you when you become an industry expert. Mm-hmm. You have so much more leverage, because now I can actually say, you know what, I'm going to go for a higher value client, meaning I can do less clients for more money and still make way more money than you, even though I do half the clients you do. That's why this is so important. Understand and have vast knowledge of your industry. And
I think the other one is important too, the thick skin.
Thick skin? Yeah.
If you're going to be an entrepreneur, you got to have thick skin.
Yeah. It's because people will
take a look and keep on
will call your business Leo. How your Leo business doing?
Yeah. And they're great networkers. Okay.
Yeah. Great networkers. Great.
You said networking is a numbers game.
Yeah, networking is a numbers game. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so that's what we have to understand about networking, because you can be I don't even care to do events no more that have 100 people. I like events that are more intimate. Give me 15 to 25 solid people. Mm-hmm. Because again, when you have 100 people, be honest with you, you're only going to have about 5 real, go-getters in the room. And that's what we have to understand when we're networking. You got to be very, very intentional about the places you go. Some of the best networking is the paid networking. That's a tip for you, because if people going to pay for networking events, you're usually going to have a quality person. That's why you have your free events, have 200 people at the networking event, because it's free. Mm-hmm. I ain't losing nothing, no skin in the game. But you got to be a network. You got to get out and understand that it is a numbers game. You're going to have to meet 20 people to get one solid person. And so.
Okay. And then we're dealing with customer service tips. There's always room to improve your customer service.
Customer service is king. Like when we talk about the top 17 mistakes, my number one mistake is individuals not understanding that customer service is king. And the reason why customer service is king, because it's the biggest trickery tool that's out there. You can have great customer service, but inferior something else. And people will find a way to give you another chance. They'll say, you know what, man, my experience was so pleasant. I really enjoyed it. It was nice. And if it's a restaurant, be like, the fish was a little overcooked, but maybe next time I'm going to try the chicken. But if you flip that and let the customer service be horrible and the product be great, you still wouldn't go back. Mm-hmm. And that's why customer service is so important, because even if I say that fish was on point, that was some of the best fish, but that service was horrible, they was mean, they was nasty, I'm not going back there. And so that's why customer service is and that's why I say it's the biggest trickery, because people will be so nice and so accommodating to you, it'll make you want to come and do business with them. Now, the product or service may not be there, but again, I got you in now. Mm-hmm. And so that's why you can capture people. Now, you may not hold them with that initial one, but at least you can capture them. So that's why customer service is so important. So important.
Okay. And then you have recommended business readings. I gotta make sure I get these books in the store, make sure we have them. I will go through your list.
Yes, and that's another unique trait about the book as well. Mm-hmm. It's not only that I highlighted and I showcase my book. I put books that I've read, people that I know that are good reads, to go in there and allow people to see other Black authors and entrepreneurs and, people that I follow, books that help me a lot, mm-hmm. And so if you're a reader, that's why I say this is just not a book, it's a resource guide as well. And the beautiful thing about it is that it's not just impacting what I'm trying to do, it's impacting so many other people because it's a book of gratitude.
And I like how you included publications as well.
Yeah, publications, everything, because I want you may not,
Business Week and Entrepreneur
your
Magazine.
reading style may be pictures. So I put something in there that might have pictures in there. So I just want you to get the content, man, and read it. But it's a beautiful thing.
And then you go into associations that people can be a part of. Very thorough.
Yeah, and so it's a no excuse platform. It says it's a no excuse platform. I identify, in the Atlanta area, the Black chambers that I have relationships with, even with my own. I have the most comprehensive Black-owned co-work space in the world. Called the RB Solution Center, and I did that. It was designed for entrepreneurs, and it was designed to give people no excuse. We just recently added a photography studio, a podcast room, additional event space. So you realistically have no excuse not to be successful, because we're providing everything that you need.
This is wonderful. I'm just reading through it. This is wonderful. This is a must-have for professionals, entrepreneurs, and business owners. This is a must-have. Thank you for sharing this.
And that's crazy because we didn't even get into the meat and potatoes. and that's why I say that's the beauty.
It's a lot. Yeah,
that's the beauty of it is that we talked about a lot and identified a lot, but didn't necessarily talk about the top 17 mistakes.
Oh
and, but now we don't have to go through all of them.
Okay, we gotta read the book for that.
Yeah,
right?
we're gonna let them identify some of them and see how they apply, but we could touch on a couple of them though.
I forgot about that. I gotta get back to it. Hold on.
And so and what I did, the reason why I called it Still Running with Blinders, because the first edition was called Running with Blinders, and it's still and the whole Running with Blinders concept is we out here running businesses but have no direction. We don't know where we're going. We don't know what we're doing. So that's where the concept come from. So the second edition has a lot of the same principles, but it's just extended to where I have now it's a semi-autobiography. Because in the first edition, I didn't talk a lot about myself personally. This time I talked about my incarceration. I talked about being shot. I talked about my divorce. But within that, I have tips. I have lessons. So it's humorous as well. So it's a lot of humor in it, but it's also giving information. And it's about overcoming. I also have about 30, who's the author? And I might have questions, my pet peeves, my whatever. So whatever you want to know about me is listed in there.
Okay. What's one of your pet peeves?
In which sense?
I don't know. You just mentioned this. So I want to know just name one. Like what's your pet peeve?
People who come to me for answers and then don't listen, talk to me the whole time. Like you coming to me for answers, but then you telling me everything somebody else then told you something else. So yeah, that I stop. I just leave you alone at that point. Go back to whoever told you whatever.
Okay, yeah. I can believe I forgot that section. There's 17 mistakes for businesses. And of course, number one is not knowing that customer service is key. And we're not going to go through all of them. Do we have time to go? No, we don't. We're out of time. So you got to get the book to go through the 17. Did you want to mention one, though?
And that's the thing, too. Yeah, and I'll mention a couple of things.
Okay.
But the thing about it is that it's not, and it's not just telling you what the mistakes are. It's telling you how to correct the mistakes. It's helping you identify, things that you may say, no, what, I did do that, but how do I correct it? And so I show you how to correct it. I show you every aspect of, and a lot of it is through personal experience. Let's see.
Okay.
Somebody pick a number. Pick a number.
Oh, yeah, pick a number.
From 2 to 17.
12. 12. Okay,
I skipped that one. All right, let's see. 12.
Not understanding the value of your business.
Yeah, we just kind of talked about that. Just understanding. Most businesses believe that, because they're new. When I say the value of it, is that most businesses, because I'm new, I should give discounts. I should be extremely low. I should do all those things. But you have to understand, if you saying you as bad as you say you are, you charge what you worth. I don't care at what point. My whole thing is people don't care as long as you deliver. Okay. They don't care as long as you deliver. So if you as bad as you are, it don't matter if you just starting your business, charge your worth. Charge your worth. And it's okay. It's okay if somebody basically leave and say, well, no, what, that's just too much for me. They just got to get their money up. They just got to get their money up. They just not there. And so this is why I say we're the Tiffany's of taxes. There's Zales and there's K Joubert. And my thing is that if somebody say, I need some jewelry, and you come to Tiffany's, we might be out your price range. That's okay. Go to Zales or K. They may have what you want. But again, I'm not dropping down. I'm not doing a Christmas sale. I'm not doing a 2-for-1, buy one, get one free, because I know my value. So you got to know your value in your business. So if you don't understand your value, you're going to always be giving discounts. You're going to always take shorts, and the thing is that I said, if you truly believe in your skills, ability, and experience, then charge what you worth. Plain and simple. Okay. The person just not your client if they can't afford it. That's okay.
That's okay. Okay, another person pick a number. 8? Okay, let's see. We'll get to it first. I bet I beat you.
Let's see. Oh yeah, we talked on that.
We talked about that one too.
Yeah, not learning your own industry.
You got to know your industry.
Yeah, so if somebody asks you questions and you can't answer, you can't expect them to pay top dollar. Yeah, you can't answer the questions out here, and especially in our profession, the tax industry, if people come to you, and not to say you got to know everything, but it's a lot of common things that most people don't have, and you got to know the basics of your industry.
Right.
And so, when you don't know that, then you can't expect to get a certain type of clientele because people are not willing to pay for inferior service, and so that's why I talk about that and that's important because again, our whole goal is sustainability, and we can't sustain if we're charging prices that's going to break us even. So if I don't know my industry, I can't charge top price. If I don't charge top price, then as the economy change, things go up, then I'm going to basically be breaking even, losing, and eventually I'm going to be out of business. So we have to understand you got to learn your business. You got to become an expert. Right. Everybody that's an expert in what they do usually get paid the most money. And that's from sports to business to any other thing you can think of.
It's been good. It's been great. Thank you. Any questions? Any thoughts?
Nah, I ain't gonna answer her question. She's too smart. She's smart. Like she gonna ask.
This is an easy one.
Okay.
What is the top lesson you've learned in life, whether it's in business? What's the top lesson that you learned?
That's a good one. What is your top lesson in business?
Probably surrounding yourself with the right people. I think, I learned that at one point I thought surrounding yourself with a lot of people was probably the answer. But I think the partnerships and relationships, the right partnerships and relationships, and that can take you much further than anything else. And so I think that's what I learned, along the way is that the right person or the right few people is so valuable to business growth and sustainability.
That's good.
So one of the things that I'll say is for me, being as though I've been in customer service. Well, actually, Brian and I went to high school together, or junior high school together.
Junior,
yeah, he cheated off my paper.
That's why I fluked out, man. I fluked out. Cheated off your paper. Like, I knew the answer.
The biggest thing for me is that I've been in the corporate sector for over 20 years, but now I work more in the private sector. One of the biggest things, everything that you just spoke on, I'm privy to. But the thing that I struggle with is I have things at my fingertips, but as I start to get up in age a little bit, my mid-50s, it's like, okay, every day I get up, I love what I do, I love the people I work with, but I should be doing this for me. I've made millions for these people. But at the end of the day, I don't know if I'm going to go to work tomorrow. They just say, Sean, thank you. We appreciate what you've done, but we no longer need you. So that's the biggest, where I struggle is, and there's so many resources, you know, expanding your reach with the internet and social media and things of that nature. It's the what do I want to, I'm not a numbers guy,
Yeah.
you know, but what can I do, you know, to at least solidify my income to where in these next, after I do these next 20 to 25 summers, what am I going to leave my kid and my grandkid? Even if it's not their dream, but at the end of the day, that's where I struggle at. And did you find that, you know, where did you find the passion to understand what it is that you wanted to do?
Well, and the thing is, I never really worked a corporate job, so I never really got stuck in that. But that should be your biggest fear. When you say you're not sure if the job gonna do this at any time, that should be the thing to say, well, you know what? I gotta take care of me. And the thing about it is when, and I always say the hardest person to become an entrepreneur is somebody who's been in corporate America for years. Because that comfort zone is a beast. You know, and the thing about it is, but this is the thing. First, I tell you, get started. You ain't quitting your job if you start an LLC. You ain't quitting your job. You just start the LLC. You getting started. But what that's going to do, that LLC is going to make you say, all right, you know what? I need to get some motion behind it now. So I got a tax ID number, got an LLC. So now, you know what? What if I start looking at some contracts? Maybe I can get some contracts on my own. And so what we have to stop looking at, what we want to do is we want to go from 0 to 10 soon as we start. Don't go from 0 to 10. Don't quit your job. First, what I tell you to do is sit down and see how you can leverage your job to catapult your business. So say you sit down and you write a list and say, all right, what resources I have on my job. All right, you know what? Amy over in shipping and receiving, she know a lot. I mean, I need to know how to order some stuff and do these things when I get my own. Now you picking Amy. Hey, Amy, you know, not because know what they doing to you. They picking you.
Right.
They getting all they can from you. So now what you do is you go to different departments and you find out like how that works. Like when we order stuff, you know, how we have to do it. We have to submit this or submit that. So now all you're doing is setting the blueprint for when you make your escape. And all you have to do is start finding out now, how can I do this on a smaller scale? I still got my job. So I don't have to make this my career right now. I just have to get started and get motion. And that's how you do it. And when your job starts getting in the way of your business, then it's time for you to leave. You know, and so at this point, you've been in your job for a minute. So, you know, at this point, I would just say take every valuable tool that you've gotten from that job and implement it in business. You already know it. You ain't losing nothing because it ain't like you quitting your job to do it, but just start it, and now you got a little side hustle. Yes, sir.
You got to know your passion, too, because you're passionate about numbers, though, right? Is that a passion of yours?
Not no more. I'm old. My mind don't be retaining all that.
Okay.
How has AI impacted your industry? That's what I want to know.
To this point, it hasn't. Yeah, I don't know. If you've seen that in the industry anywhere where AI have impacted?
I use it to help me. I use ChatGPT and AI for everything.
So when you said, are you meaning that in a detrimental way or a helpful way?
Helpful.
How it impacts your business?
Well, I don't use. In fact, I just probably about 2 months ago, I really like this ChatGPT thing is amazing. I really just probably 2 months ago. So to this point, it hadn't did a whole lot, but I will find myself now when I'm looking up certain laws or rules or something just to see what it's going to say or see what information it's going to give me. So it has probably for the last 2 to 3 months have been helpful in helping me identify some things.
Yeah.
But I got to learn it. I want somebody to do a class at the center because what I'm hearing now is so many components to it.
Yeah.
You know, it's so many components. And because all I know is Chat GPT and ask a few questions, I haven't maximized it yet.
Oh, yeah.
have a class if you want to pay me to come teach you.
All right, we can get a wrap.
Okay. You teach AI, you know?
I teach AI in the tax practice.
Oh.
I'll definitely need you.
Okay.
Because we still out here saying, man, I love Allen Iverson too. Yeah, he might not be the GOAT, but he up there though. Yeah, he up there. So yeah, we needed our community. Like, yeah, 3 was something serious, you know. So yeah, we definitely needed, you know, and I know I'm guilty of it. And the thing is that my goal is, if y'all have young people that I can partner with, please, because I'm semi-retired. And to be honest with you, I ain't trying to do a whole lot. I'm trying to partner with people that do a whole lot now. So if young people that understand AI, that's who I want to partner with, because I'm not going to take a whole lot of time out to really learn it like from top to bottom.
Me and Brian together.
Yeah, because what happens is in South America and Central America, that 3G don't run the same. So the internet ain't the same, and that's where I'm planning on being. So no, I need to surround myself with young people that really get it.
Yeah.
I had a question. What do you think we can do as a collective to create a mass paradigm shift when you talked about the entertainment, the education of entertainment? What's something we can do as a collective to have this mass paradigm shift where the education is as cool as the entertainment? Because the entertainment by design is poisoning, but we have the most access to information ever, but the choice is wrong, because we'll choose to look up an entertainment network versus how to do something like you just mentioned, the Chat GPT. I was working with it for a while, but one of my clients was up here a couple weeks ago, and I was just talking about some stuff because he was sitting there working, and he was like, "Oh yeah, well, just put this in here," and when that thing spit that out, I was like, "Oh my God."
Yeah.
I was like, I am not doing enough with my life.
But to change the paradigm, man, to change the shift, be honest, it's gonna have to start with Black men that's successful. Because the thing is that nobody's gonna, the school, we hoping the schools just put it in, they know it's changed. Schools don't care about that. Because I always say the oppressor is not gonna give the oppressed the game. So they not gonna get that to us. So it's gonna take for cats like Nick, Seabrook, you, me, to reach to these young cats and start teaching them what we know and say, man, this is the pitfalls you're gonna face if you don't learn this. I can help you get on this. I'm reigniting on June 21st. I'm having what it's called On My Grown Man Shit. And I'm bringing 20 Black men together with some of their kids and young people, and we're dressing to the nine, because we're creating a certain visual that we want people to start seeing now to change the paradigm and say, you know what, these Black men look nice. Look, they dressed up, the young people. But we're going to talk about how can we be better partners? How can we be better dads? How can we be better husbands? How can we be better, friends, businessmen? And that's the type of stuff that we have to do. And we have to do it collectively and intentionally around the country. And it got to happen in every city. Like, it's happening in certain places on a small scale. And if you're not really keeping up or in the know, a lot of times you're saying, man, this ain't happening nowhere. But I'm seeing it happening. But if nobody don't know about it, then it don't matter. So we have to do it more often. We have to do it with intent, and so because we got to really at this point start feeding the next generation. So this cycle will be broken, because the paradigm would never change if we depended on the colleges, if we depended on the high schools, and even if we depended on the parents, because a parent can't show what they don't know. And so we only have limited successful people in our community. So those limited amount of people actually have to be the ones. And kids don't really listen. The reason why people always say, man, my kid don't never listen to me. I told them the same thing. And we all hear that and we all say that. But that's why somebody else got to be in their ear. Because now they say, you know what? My dad did tell me that. My mom did tell me that. And now we got to kind of reinforce it. But if we not basically doing it and we saying it start at home and we know the homes are broken, then we're going to have a broken future. the paradigm and the shift will never change. So this is why we have to, man, as black men, communicate. And it may not be 20 all the time. It may be 10. But I know for a fact, like I got cats here, like I know Nick he already doing it. You already doing it. See him in the field. Y'all need to know each other. I know all y'all. Sean, I've been knowing, man. Look, I talked about Sean in the book. Like we were
Sean,
in
you
the
made
point,
the book?
probably 7th or 8th grade. I think one of them years we got all the same classes together. I come from Holly Grove, New Orleans. He come from the 8th Ward in New Orleans. And we 2 different situations, met each other, man, and clicked and still have friendships today. And it's okay to tell cats, man, I love you. And have those kind of bonding, those kind of shifts. And when we start creating those kind of situations, it's going to be a beautiful thing. It's going to be a beautiful thing when we reach back. My thing is, I'm trying to get back to Southern now, making some calls to see if I can get at Southern. Southern love right there, baby. Southern love. I got my Southern fam in the house as well. But, I'm reaching out to Southern and say, all right, how can I come back and talk to these young people?
Oh, I got
That's
some.
good.
Yeah.
I think mentorship is
Yeah,
so important.
and so that's so important because it's 2 different worlds. It's a world in which they learn in these classrooms, and it's a world when they get out of these classrooms. It's 2 different worlds. And what's happening is that they're not getting the right weapons to fight the war that they're coming into. So it's up to us to change the shift, to change the paradigm, to say, all right, bro, look, you need to start learning AI now. You're young, you can grasp it, you're in that world, you have enough time to learn it. And it's just reaching out to young people, mentoring more. We ain't gonna catch everybody, we ain't gonna save everybody, but if we can catch a few, yeah, that's our job. That's you doing what you're supposed to. And that's the ultimate goal, is to keep feeding other people. I didn't reach my success. I never say, my friend Dr. Key Harmon just wrote a book, and her book is No One is Self-Made. And that's how we basically get it. The one thing I know, if everything I've built, all the countries I've been to, all the success I've acquired, all the things that I've done, I know I didn't do it by myself. And when we start realizing it takes a village, and that's what we've lost. We've lost our village. And we got to get the village back to change the paradigm.
That's a good enough ending.
I have a question. So I struggle with deeply on this, on going from on a branding side. How did you go from when you started your business, were people following you or were they following your brand for your business? Because where I'm stuck at, people know me, and I'm trying to separate it, and I've done a decent job, but I feel like I lost a little bit because I've detached myself and I'm trying to put other people in place. And I'm struggling because I'm not trying to be a walking brand. I'm really not.
Nah, that's a good question. In fact, I had this conversation yesterday with one of my clients, and my mechanic, and that's a good question because a lot of people struggle with that. And the one thing I did was early on, I used to have my name on everything. When I send out letterheads and all that, and what I did was I started taking my name off everything and putting the company on everything. When people that work with me would say, well, your company, I said, no, not our. And so I would work with them to change their mindset, to take on responsibility and talk to people that everything's not Brian related. And so what I started doing was shifting. I have a concept that I talk about in the book. And you have to, and I've had a couple people come back and say, Brian, thank you so much for this. It's called HTTD. It's hire, train, trust, and delegate. You got to understand that. Hire, train, trust, and delegate. And the reason why that is so important, this is how you detach yourself away from it. You got to hire people. Or if you have people that's working with you, train those people on everything you know. And when you train them, you got to trust them. And when you trust them, you got to delegate. Because the thing is that if you never trust them, then why you have them there? You got to let them go. You got to trust your training. And see, I trust my training. So when I teach somebody and I let them go, even though I may look at the final part, but I'm not doing A through Z. I might do Z, but they're going to do all the rest. And then I kind of just put my blessing on it. because now I've trained them to get to that. And so now when I have clients who say, well, no, I just want to see you. And I tell clients this now, even when I turn them on, I say, you haven't seen me in 5 years. They're like, what? Like, so you, because I only want you to do my stuff. I say, man, I did your stuff for 5 years and you've been totally satisfied. I say, I've called you and reviewed it and blessed it with you. I say, but I have competent people. Well, I don't trust nobody but you. I say, if you trust me, then you trust that I tell you that they're going to take care of it. And at that, I have no more problem. Because if you trust me and I say he's going to take care of it, then you got to trust that I know what I'm talking about. And after that, you have no more problem. But you got to train your people to be competent, because you can't tell nobody to go to deal with that person and then that person don't know what you know. Does it make sense?
Your job is to manage I tell my employees all the time, my job is to manage myself out of this position.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have been trusted and trained and developed the necessary resources. And I trust them, because first and foremost, not only do the trust has to reciprocate, so they got to have the trust in you, because at the end of the day, you signed me a check. But when you should still be making money when you're on the beach overseas. That register should still be running, and not because it's you, it's because the machine is still running, because you have the people that you trust that'll make the right decisions for you as well as them, for their futures and the future of the company as well.
Yep.
But the thing is trying to figure out who to trust.
Talk about it.
Who to trust.
Ooh, that's a whole other conversation.
That's the biggest
You
thing.
know
I think
me.
that's what he's getting at with his question. He's like,
Right.
people, they feel like they can come to me, but I'm trying to detach, because I don't want to become overwhelmed because I can't get to this because I'm still stuck here.
Well, my situation is more or less, I get people calling. I got this whole call center set up. Oh, they told me I only speak to Caesar. Let me talk. And I'm like, now I got to put you back. So I'm trying to get out of that. I'm trying, how do I disappear? Where I don't have people constantly
You
calling.
might have to disappear.
Asking
They
me.
Why they
And
ask
it's-
you, how are you marketing?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I guess I'm started
But-
off
but-
being me.
But do they not give you, do you not give them the answers to the questions that the people calling have?
Yeah, but when they first call in, they ask and say, oh, I was told to only speak to me, right? Oh, no, make sure you talk to him, right? And so I have to stop what I'm doing. Just
Okay.
like
Well,
you did, and be like,
Let me get answers right quick and then we can
Okay.
end. What you do is have your people say, all right, what are your questions? What questions can I take for you? And then when they say, let me write it down for him, he wants us to write them down and get him the questions, and then he'll call you back so he'll have an answer for you. When they write the question, the person answers that question. And a lot of time, most of the time, if they answer the question proficiently, that person gonna be fine. Every now and then somebody say, well, yeah, I thank you for that. That was good. I still want to, but it's going to cut down more than half. I guarantee you.
But most of the time, they don't need to talk to me.
Right.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
Most of the time,
Oftentimes it's a relationship thing.
90% of the time, they don't need to talk to you.
Another option
So-
is pay for access if they want to talk to you.
So I just considered that. I just considered the pay. Look, I'll talk to you. I'll do everything. This is my price.
Okay, so go ahead and give the people your how they can get in contact with you.
All right, so-
close it out.
You can follow me on social media, Instagram, on all platforms for the tax business at LB Tax Biz, on all platforms. Personally at Rich Boy, RichBoyJup1, so Rich Boy Jupe. And then Rich Boy Investments, you can purchase the book on Amazon or richboyinvestments.com. That's Rich Boy with an I. We got so much stuff coming. And then also follow the RB Solution Center, which is the most comprehensive Black-owned co-work space in the world. And I challenge anybody on it. If you're in the Atlanta area, come through, take a tour. We got a lot of beautiful things for you. So please reach out with any questions, concerns, and if you in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, please come to the Doc Bookshop, man. It's so many things in here, but supporting Black businesses, supporting Black authors is paramount to seeing our success, but not now, but future generations. So we thank you.
Thank you. All right, it's been a wonderful evening. Diane, you want to come and close me out. That's my other. That's my business partner there. My sister. She's actually the creative one. She always got something.
Real
She always got something up her sleeves.
Real sister?
Mm-hmm. I'm older. Oh, you gotta turn it off though.
I know, I got it.
Okay, they see it. Okay. All right, thank you all for being here.
It's called product promotion. It's
Okay.